Hi, I'm Julie O'Hara. Today I'm going to show you the technique for making tender, flaky scones, just like the ones I wrote about in my article for NPR.org's Kitchen Window column. Scones are a type of quick bread, and one of the easiest methods of making quick bread is to combine all your dry ingredients in one bowl, your wet ingredients in another bowl, and then combine them. So here I have flour, sugar, baking powder, baking soda, salt, and cinnamon. I'm going to whisk those really thoroughly to make sure everything's evenly distributed. In this bowl I have 1 egg, half a teaspoon of vanilla, and half a cup of buttermilk, which I'm going to whisk together. So now we have our wet ingredients and our dry ingredients, but because these are scones, we're also going to incorporate some butter, and that's our next step. Here I have 7 tablespoons of very cold unsalted butter that I've cut into chunks. I'm going to add those to the flour. Get them all there. And I'm going to work it in by hand. You can also do this with a pastry blender, but I like doing it by hand because it ensures you won't overwork the butter, and it gives you a nice feel for the dough. You want to do this for about a minute and a half, breaking it up into chunks, flattening some of the pieces with your hand, until you just have a floury, shaggy mess. You want to see chunks of butter in your finished dough, because when you put it in the oven, that's what's going to create those light, flaky layers that you want in a scone. Now it's time to combine our wet ingredients and our dry ingredients. So I'm going to add our buttermilk mixture to our flour mixture, and just start gently combining those two. And anytime you make a quick bread, you want to combine really quickly and really gently so that you don't end up with a tough texture. I've mixed my buttermilk into my flour mixture just until the flour is barely moistened. You can still see some dry bits of flour in there, and that's okay. So now it's time to add our final ingredients, and that is our oats and some toasted pecans and some chopped dried figs. In my kitchen window piece, I did sour cherry and walnut scones, but here I changed it up to show you a little variation, and it's the exact same quantities. So here go the oats, fruit in your nuts, all of those. And again, you just combine very gently, just until everything comes together. I've incorporated all the ingredients, so now I'm going to turn the dough out onto a lightly floured surface, and I'm just going to flour my hands a little bit, flour the dough a little bit, and just knead this into a ball once or twice. Get it a little floured up, and pat it into a thick disc. Then I've got my rolling pin, a little more flour. You don't want to go too heavy on the flour, but you need it just to make sure your rolling pin doesn't stick. And then I'm going to, from the center, going to every side, roll this dough out into roughly an 8-inch disc. That's about 3/4 of an inch thick. Very light strokes, that's all you need, till you get to about 8 inches. So now to form my scones, I'm going to cut this disc, just like a pizza, into 8 wedges. And I'm going to transfer those wedges over here to a baking sheet that I've lined with parchment paper to create a non-stick surface. Space the scones about 1 inch apart, and then bake them in a 375-degree oven for 13 to 15 minutes. The scones have been baking for about 15 minutes, so let's pull them out and see what we have. The way you can tell if they're done is if a toothpick inserted in the middle comes out clean, very nice, and if the bottom is nice and deep golden brown. There we go. You just want to cool these on your baking sheet for about 5 minutes and then transfer them over to a wire rack and finish cooling, and all that's left to do after that is enjoy. I'm Julie O'Hara. Thanks for watching.